Ready? Okay, so for those of you that don't know me, my name's Leanne Claxton, and if you can't tell from my accent already, I'm from the north of England. So, growing up in the north of England, I was really fortunate to be trained by an artist when I was at school. I was 11 years old and I got taught by the artist called Ian Murphy. In one of our conversations, Ian talked about coming to Hong Kong to do art. And I thought, wow, like art can really take you places, and that's what I really want to do. So I want to take this opportunity to say a massive thank you to Ian. He's my lifetime mentor, and I would not be standing here today if it wasn't for Ian. So here I am, standing, presenting my second solo exhibition. It's called A Floral Fantasy, and it's essentially a rhapsody of patterns within nature. So the inspiration started from when I was on holiday in Boracay, and I started drawing in my sketchbook because I love to draw outside and I love to paint outside. And I was drawing in my sketchbook, and a little butterfly landed on my sketchbook, and it stayed there for ages and it kept coming back. So I was drawing all the intricate patterns in its leaves that you can see in some of the pieces here as some of the butterfly wings patterns. And I just think there's so much beauty in nature. And we go through our everyday lives and we often don't notice. And I really wanted this exhibition to capture all the beauty that I've studied. So last summer I spent a lot of time in Hong Kong Park, and I was painting the bird's wings and the butterfly feathers, as well as I'm obsessed with flowers, but this time I was studying the patterns not only in floral leaves and petals, but in birds. So in this piece it's actually a bird and its feathers. So I wanted to capture everything and put it into bloom-like compositions. So the colours, it's actually really hard for me to explain where I get my colour from. This series of work is very much inspired by Sri Lankan skies. Because I spent a lot of time in Sri Lanka. I was there at the beginning of the year and I completely fell in love with the sky and the colour of the sands and the sea. So yeah, it's so instinctive how I use colour. It is quite difficult for me to explain, but I moved to Sai Kung at the end of last year, and all of these pieces I painted on my rooftop. Each piece was painted up there on my roof. And I've got a huge backdrop of really misty sort of grey mountains against bright blue sky. And I really think that that's what a lot of my colour inspiration came from. So it's really interesting to see what started as a drawing in Boracay, and it travelled through Sri Lanka, came back to Hong Kong, and it ended up on a suit for the Canto pop star Eason Chan, which you can see over there. Now this isn't the first time that I've worked with Eason. I was in Sai Kung a few weeks ago, and there was a double-decker bus, and Eason was on the side of the bus wearing a suit that had my paintings from 2010 that had been printed in the suit. So I must say at this moment, I want to say a huge thank you to Joanna Ho, the fashion designer that made my artwork transfer onto a digitally printed suit for a Canto pop star. And for me, the best part of doing what I do is seeing my artwork out there, whether it's on a Canto pop star on a stage, whether it's on a bus, or on a model on a catwalk, or even on a cup of tea. And everyone that knows me knows that I'm obsessed with tea. So I just love to see my prints out there onto products. So as a print designer, I really wanted to print this series of paintings. So these are all my original oil paintings that I've actually screen printed using the techniques that I learned at uni. And I was really fortunate this year. I went to India twice and I gathered many sequins and crystals, and I wanted to integrate those into my canvases as well. So it's really like mixing what I traditionally learned as a student from being really small, from ear, mixing it with what I've learned in the fashion industry and combining art and fashion as one entity. Which leads me into talking about launching my scarf brand. So the main concept behind my scarf brand was I want my artwork to be accessible to people. So my scarves, which are over there tonight, have been digitally printed onto 100% silk. And I want people to really feel like when they wear one of my scarves, that they're wearing a piece of art and they're taking with them a little piece of me in my world. So I have to say a huge thank you to my beautiful model, Courtney. Thank you so much, Courtney, for being an amazing model for my class. And I want to say thank you to the British photographer, Luke Boland, that took the photographs of Courtney. What an amazing day. And what makes this whole experience so special is everyone being here tonight and all my friends and family that support me. I want to say a special thank you to my mum. She's travelled all the way from England to be here. And I want to say a huge thank you to a very special couple, Mary and Pete. My Hong Kong family. Yeah, basically, Mary and Keith are my Hong Kong mum and dad, and I met them in 2006 when I moved here, and yeah, they're fantastic. And I also want to say a really special thank you to one of my very good friends, and she hired me in 2008 at Tesco. Jo Gray, you've been there from the start when you hired me at Tesco, and I want to say a special thank you because you're always there and you're such an inspiration with your own business. And not only my family and friends are extremely supportive, I meet a lot of people in the industry that are so supportive. So I have to say a huge thank you to Sean and Sally for allowing me to exhibit my paintings last year and this year in amazing space. And I want to say a huge thank you to Megna from Active Communication that's given me the confidence to actually, this is the first time I've talked about my work, and yeah, if it wasn't for her then I don't think I'd have the confidence to do this. So thank you. And also, tonight I've been sponsored by a fantastic company called Design My Case. They've given us 50 iPhone cases, so there's 5 designs all over there, 200 Hong Kong dollars, 50% of the money is going to go to an amazing charity called Feeding Hong Kong. And my very special thank you to everyone here tonight is that my scarf collection is half price, just for tonight only, it's half the retail price. So please, thanks for listening, thanks for coming, and enjoy the drink.